Well, hello everyone, and this is Peter Brown with a look at your weather for the next 7 days. And if you can believe it, here we are at the very end of March, heading into April. But by looking at the temperatures that we're going to be experiencing the next 7 days, it's going to feel anything like April, that's for sure. As we start off our period on Friday, last day of March, look at this. Our highs are only going to be in the mid to upper 30s. And this mid to upper 30 temperature is actually going to bring with it quite a bit of wintry weather to the Burlington area. I know that's probably the last thing you want to hear after we had temperatures in the 70s back in February. But unfortunately, it looks like winter is really unloading on us here at the very tail end. As you see, as we get to the end of the period, getting into the middle of the first week of April, our average highs are supposed to be in the low 50s, and it's going to be a struggle to actually get near that average high, even as we get towards the end of this period. However, the best thing you notice is look at how long those days are getting. The sun is setting now well after 7 o'clock, so there's ample sunshine if you have to get out and do any errands after work. So that's a great part of the season coming up. But as we go ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit about what's going to be going on with our weather for the next 7 days. And as you can see here, we're going to focus our attention on this little storm system here that's going to be developing off of the southern coast of New England. Now, when we put our forecast together, it actually looked like this might have been just a very light snow event, maybe mixed with rain. However, as we've gotten closer up into the forecast period, this storm looks like it's actually going to be moving much slower than originally anticipated. And it's also going to be laden with all kinds of moisture being dragged up from the Gulf of Mexico. That's going to be colliding with some very chilly air that's going to be nudging its way down to the Burlington area from Maine and from southern Canada. What does that mean for us? Well, it looks like going into most of the day on Friday, and especially into Friday night and Saturday morning, we're going to see some pretty heavy precipitation around here. And most of the models right now are looking like we could see the potential of maybe up to 8 or so inches of snow, maybe even up to as much as 10 inches of snow in the Burlington area. So that's going to be something we're really going to have to pay attention to the next day or so. And as we get into the middle of next week, we're going to see a continuation of these small storm systems coming our way. And that's going to introduce, again, the chance of some wet weather when we get towards the middle of next week. Now, it's odd that we should be talking about a snowstorm developing here going into the 1st of April on April Fool's Day, because as we go to the next graphic, I'm going to remind you of a storm that hit us 20 years ago here in southern New England. This was, of course, the April Fool's Day blizzard of 1997, and as many of you remember, here in the Burlington area, you can see right around here, and there was actually a very extensive area in Massachusetts where we saw between 20 and 30 inches of snow between March 31st and April 1st. And this was such a surprise because a week before that, we had had temperatures up near 80. So it looks like we have a very similar pattern to what we were seeing 20 years ago, where we were seeing warm weather before this storm. And fortunately, though, it looks like we're not going to be getting maybe 20 to 30 inches out of this snow as it looks right now. We're probably going to have to cut those totals in half at least, so that's a good sign. But just to keep an eye out, winter is definitely not done with us, even when we get to the beginning of April. As we move ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit about the details of our 7-day forecast coming up. As you can see here, again, not a very spring-like pattern that we're seeing here. Look at this, Friday and Saturday, we see that chance of some very heavy snow mixed with heavy sleet and maybe even a bit of heavy rain. So we could see up to 8 to 10 inches of extremely heavy wet snow, which could bring down some power lines in the area. So keep that in mind as we head into the start of the weekend coming up. Now, as we get into Sunday and Monday, skies clear up a little bit, temperatures moderate a little bit into the mid and upper 40s. But again, we get to the middle of the week, Tuesday, we introduce that chance of rain again, and we see temperatures getting up near 50. As of right now, it looks like Wednesday is going to be the pick of our period, with temperatures fairly mild in the mid to upper 50s. And then to tail out our week on Thursday, getting into the end of the period, looks like we're going to end out with temperatures pretty seasonable, temperatures in the low 50s. So, folks, we are getting into the midst of spring, getting into April. I know it feels anything but that, but there are brighter skies ahead. The warm season is ahead of us. So get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.